The other big change this season is that for the first time, Michael's going on the offensive, and he and his team are sort of going after the company. And I was wondering if you could sort of preview what's that going to entail this season, who's involved, what's going to be going down with that.
We like to joke it's a little bit like the A-Team. It's got a little bit of a caperish Ocean's 11 feel, except people are still dying. So it's still very serious. It's still life and death. But I think Michael, Lincoln, Sarah, Sucre, Belloc, Mahone, and a couple new characters, realize that it's time to stand and fight, that this threat is not going to go away, and that the way to do that is to not focus on the puppets like they have been, Agent Kellerman and Gretchen B. and Whistler, but to go after the puppet master. So we find out a lot more season 4 about who's been pulling the strings so far.
And it's interesting that you mentioned Ocean's 11 because I got a chance to see the first episode, and I felt like exactly that. It looked a lot like that. It's a completely sort of new direction. It's the first season where there's no prison per se involved, and so is that like how is that different than previous how is it different than previous seasons?
I think the prison this season is sort of allegorical in that everybody is wrestling with things in their own lives that they can't seem to escape. Michael, Mahone, Lincoln, Sarah, we're all coming into this season with a tremendous amount of baggage that we've accumulated on the journey of the 3 seasons. And so while they're not behind bars, they're certainly not free, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And then just for Sarah, when everyone thought Sarah Tancredi's head was in a box, there was a lot of fan outpouring of just who were furious, I think, with the show because they loved your character and they loved the interaction with Michael. And what was sort of, how did you respond to that overwhelmingly favorable reaction to, no, we can't believe this character is dead, we loved her?
I can't express how grateful I am. I mean, I think often, I don't quite know how to say it, but as an actor, your relationship with an audience is a critical one, but often a silent one. And I started acting and sort of grew up in theater, and as soon as the show is over, they let you know exactly how they felt. And they're either standing and clapping or they're making no noise at all, and you think, I'll go back and I'll work harder and we'll make this right. With television, it's very different because you don't really get a chance to interact with the audience in the same way. And I do very little of the sort of checking out of things online because I find it gets in my head in ways that I don't think are healthy. So I didn't really know the way fans felt, and then they got me my job back. And it's a job I value, working with people who I adore and learn a tremendous amount from.
And then finally, just for Wentworth, because you're incredibly popular amongst, you have a huge rabid fan base. You're the most popular celebrity actually on Buddy TV. And I'm wondering, how do you sort of deal with that overwhelming sort of rabid fan base and I'm imagining you have plenty of crazy sort of fan interaction stories.
I don't. Actually, I don't. I honestly, a couple times I've gotten some bizarre gifts on the street, like a pair of handcuffs one time, but with a pillow, which was still sweet. It came from the sweetest person, but that's the thing. I don't feel particularly overwhelmed, which is great because the show has managed to have its impact, and I love what I do, and I love that it touches people's lives in the way that it does. But in the States in particular, it's a relatively contained, modest hit. It's only when we go abroad, say France or Japan, that's when you feel like a rock star for a day, when it can become very intense. The quality changes. It's actually like the best of both worlds, really, because we get this great exposure and we're part of something that we're proud of, but at the same time we all get to lead our lives as relatively normally as possible.
We've also been, until this season, pretty insulated by being in Chicago and Dallas, I think. LA is a city that's partly about celebrity watching. There's a sort of zoo aspect of it that's very odd. We had paparazzi our first day on set, which was creepy. But I think that's the new thing for us now.
Yeah.
Okay. Wentworth, Sarah, thank you.